So a little backstory. I met this guy when he moved to my town during my junior year of high school. I was with a friend of mine. He seemed to like her. She told me that she would go over to his house whenever she wanted to buy a cheap cigar for her. He was 18. Then my friend told me he was having a party and that she wanted me to come with her. I trusted her to protect me at the party, as long as she was sober. However, I doubted she would be sober the whole time, and she might possibly pass out. Lucky for me, I met a guy at school that I really liked. I figured I'd use this party as an excuse to text him and ask him to stay on the line with me while I was at the party. I went to these parties a few times. Eventually I started dating the guy I met at school, and he wanted me to stop going to the parties. The guy who was throwing them started showing a strong interest in me instead of my friend. A little while after, I stopped going. He moved away, and I didn't hear from him again for another year. When I graduated high school, the guy I was dating and I got pretty serious. He went into the army, and I got a job at the local gas station for the summer. Everything was going great, and I eventually got engaged. Then one day, the party guy comes back. He comes in with a few guys from my old class, but quickly ditches them in order to talk to me for nearly 2 hours while I was on the clock. My boss told him to leave, as this was during my shift. He called him my boyfriend multiple times. However, English wasn't his first language, so I had a problem explaining my situation to him, that this guy was nowhere near that. He then started coming to work every day asking if I was working that day. If I was, he'd stay waiting for me to get on my shift. If I wasn't, he'd go to my house. And if I wasn't at home or work, he'd knock on my door and convince my mum that I promised to hang out with him so he could sit on my couch and wait for me. My boss told him that he couldn't visit me at work unless his main reason for the trip was to buy me something, and he didn't keep me from working. I remember my boss pointing out to me that he was circling the gas station in his car one night. He asked me if I was getting picked up by him after my shift. I told him I wasn't, and he laughed it off. Neither my boss or my mum understood how creepy this shit was. I would constantly come home from work to him sitting on my couch. I would tell my mum that he was stalking me and I didn't want to see him again. My mum was adamant that I not hurt his feelings and said that he obviously just had a little crush on me. He would talk for me for hours after work about how much he liked me and my sister. I would constantly tell him I was engaged and didn't want to hang out with him because he was obviously flirting with me. Then he would say that he was really there to see my sister, who was also in a committed relationship and didn't want to see him. We went back and forth, not paying any attention to the fact neither of us were interested in having anything to do with him. I didn't talk to my fiancé about it because he was all the way in Florida and there was nothing he could do about it anyway. I told him about my problem with my mum and her drunk friend, and he offered to take some kind of emergency leave to come and get me before we finished his secondary training. But I didn't want that. I knew that telling him about this guy would add to the pile, so I didn't. After 2 months of staying far away from work and home whenever I could, I finally decided to take up my father's and was offered to come and live with him until my fiancé got out of his training. I didn't tell my mum or Stalker where I was going. I stayed up all night packing my stuff, took my car to my mother-in-law's house, privated all my social media, and blocked my Stalker and all of his friends. A few months later, my fiancé and I got married, and moved far away from that place. I still haven't talked to him a lot about it. However, I know there's no way to come here and find out and find me, so it doesn't matter. I grew up in the rural south, next door to my grandparents. We lived in a deeply wooded area, right off the highway, on a large plot of land my grandparents owned. Only my grandmother was alive when this took place. While not huge, our woods were large enough to act as a home for deer, rabbits, foxes, and the like. Just to give you a sense of how the boonies this was, at the edge of our land was a family-owned dairy farm and fields along the highway. Google Maps still can't locate my address. Near the end of 8th grade, our class went on a day-to-day field trip, and parents were to pick us up at 10 p.m. This was before the cell phone boom. I was pretty embarrassed and upset when no one came to get me from school. I tried calling my house phone, no go. About an hour late, my dad finally came to greet me in his pickup. Calm but visibly rattled, as it turned out, as my dad was leaving to get me on time. 4 strange men were lurking in a large wooded yard. Really redneck he is, my dad chased them through the woods until they disappeared into the large field. A tiny pug giving chase right along with them. The police were called, but there wasn't much they could do aside from filing a report. While scary, I was a kind of oblivious child, and with police having been called, I figured it was over with. Addicts would sometimes steal lawnmowers and weed eaters. That happens. Looking back, the things that happened over the following months make my skin crawl. I began to notice strange cars parked off the highway near our home in the middle of the night. Given that our house was tucked back into the woods, it was easy for them to keep the license plate turned away from the view of our windows. The cars were always just sitting, no one getting in or out, nothing whatsoever to even feign a breakdown. We called the police when we noticed these strange cars, but the distance to our home made it so that they had to be driven off by the time anyone reached us. I didn't understand this at the time, but we were clearly being watched. Even as an adult, I don't understand what these people wanted. We lived in a little trailer that didn't exactly scream, "Drug money awaits," and there were equally isolated, yet affluent neighbourhoods that were easy to access. My parents worked full-time during the day, and my sister and I were both teenagers in school, so why not break in during the day? As I said, our home was wooded, shielded off a dirt road from the highway we lived in, so no one would have to even noticed it. I was in bed when the men came back. It seemed strange the car visits had lessened. My father went out late one evening to get CDs from his pickup, and they were out there again. My mother made us stay inside when she called the police, but I remember the sound of my father screaming as he thundered after them. Just like the last time, they disappeared into the woods. The police couldn't find them. They agreed that they were stalking us out. We were poor, so there was no money for security equipment. My mother had never allowed guns in the house until this point, but my grandfather's old rifles were now being kept in their closet. While we lived in our trailer, our grandmother lived beside us in a little brick house she built with my grandfather in the 70s. It had old-fashioned carport with steps that lead to her front door, clunky with frosted glass shutters from top to bottom. It made a distinct heavy sound of shaking glass when it was knocked on. Usually a family member would sleep over there with her in case she needed something, but she hadn't been feeling well that day and didn't need help. She always stayed up late watching television and liked to sleep during the day when it was sunny and warm. A man came to her door, sometimes past 3 in the morning. She called out to ask who was there, thinking it might be one of us. There was no answer. He continued to knock while my grandmother told him to go away, leave her alone. Instead he opened the door. It was an old and fairly easy unlock. but her chain lock kept him from getting in, so he spoke directly to her through the crack. He would only tell her, "Come on, let me in. I know you're alone." I have no idea how she kept her calm through this, or how she had the nerve to lie on her couch and get equally irate with the strange man at her door in the night. She couldn't walk well, and her phone was in the kitchen. After 15 minutes of this exchange, the stranger calmly closed the door and went away. My grandmother called our home first. He could be coming to get us next. And then the police. I was sitting on my grandfather's recliner, listening as she told officers what happened. She was calm then too, with her jaw stuck out in anger. Obviously nothing ever came of it. We never found out who was watching us, or why. The man never came back. The strangers in their familiar cars stopped coming. We never saw anyone outside again. To whoever wanted to come inside, let's not meet again. From 2006 to 2011, I worked in the electronics department at the local Walmart in the small city I lived in. Through those 5 years I had worked there, I had plenty of creepy encounters with strange customers, especially considering the state hospital was directly across the road. This story isn't just a regular old creepy encounter, but something that would lead me to being stalked for nearly a year. It all started in 2010, on a night I was working second shift. I was doing my end of shift ritual when a woman in her late 40s interrupted me. She was with a little girl, no more than 3 or 4. "Excuse me, I need help with my cell phone," she spoke softly. She proceeded to tell me her problem. "I need to turn my phone into a straight talk phone. The girl earlier said you could do it." Of fucking course she did, I thought to myself, but my lips said sure, let's see what I can do. She handed me a 6-year-old phone from Verizon, and I knew as soon as I saw it, I wouldn't be able to do what she wanted. I explained she would have to buy a new phone from Straight Talk and transfer her old number. Basic shit, really. Now, I always took my job seriously and held myself to the highest standard of customer service. I would often receive letters to the store from customers complimenting me, so I assure you, I did nothing to actually piss off this lady. But sure as shit, she was. "Why the hell would I buy a new phone? I already have one," she's screaming at the top of her lungs. Her claims of me upselling her and being a corporate goon. I finally managed to defuse the situation as she left her department. She gives me the classic, "You'll never get a job in this town again." As I'm getting ready to leave my shift, my manager stops and tells me I've got a complaint at customer service from a lady claiming I swore at her granddaughter. Apparently, I told her to fuck off. I explained what happened, and he just laughed it off. My managers knew it was very unlike me to say things like that to a customer. I wish this story ended there, however. But then, I wouldn't be writing this, would I? For the next several weeks, I would get complaints about things I'd never done, sometimes even on my days off. I would come into questions from management nearly every day, with complaints ranging from me being rude to a customer all the way to me doing drugs in the parking lot on the break. All these complaints were coming from 2 women. As it turned out, it was a cell phone lady and her adult daughter. It turns out they had even been scoping out my work schedule and started coming in every day. I would walk through electronics to make sure they saw me, and later that night I would have a complaint. This happened for months. It happened so much, management deemed her the store's favourite customer. To be honest, I didn't care much. I even thought it was pretty funny. I never got in trouble. Everyone knew these ladies could just blow it off. I started caring when she took it to a new level. She started to follow me around. I would see her when I was around town. She would make it clear she knew where I lived and would regularly walk by my house. I would see her standing out front, just looking at my place. I began getting complaints to the city about my property. Glass too tall, the old shed in the yard, my fire pit, basically everything. She even found out about my girlfriend's name. I began complaining at her job. I knew it was her. She would make it so clear she was following me. Sometimes she would stop in and ask me questions at work and act like the nicest customer. A few times she asked me things like, "How's your girlfriend?" Or my favourite, "How can you afford that big house on your little Walmart wage?" For about 7 months, she stalked and slandered me. I started telling her I knew what she was doing and to stop, but she played it off. I couldn't report her. She never once threatened me. She was just making my life hard. By this time in my life, everyone knew about this nut job. One night, I'm grabbing dinner with my friends from work, and we're joking about it, and someone says, "What if you just counter-stalk her?" At first I thought it was a terrible idea, but then they convinced me it would work, and they would all help me out. So, we hatched a plan like something you'd read on Reddit Pro Revenge. It went as follows: find her job, find her name and address, make act in the same manner as her, find out all the rumours she told me about, make it clear that we knew, show her that we have numbers. I found out her information easily enough. It turns out she didn't live anywhere near me. I was even friends with a few of her co-workers, and they would inform me on crazy shit she said about me, and even told her to stop. We began doing exactly what she was doing to me. We did this for about 4 months. The more we dug into her life, the more I found out about how obsessed she was over getting me in trouble. She claimed that I assaulted her. She urged others to report me and follow me. She told police I was a potential drug dealer. Eventually, we won through. She started putting together that there were 6 of us digging into her life and asking questions about her. My last month at work, I didn't get a single complaint. In fact, I never even saw her anymore. The day after I quit, though, I heard she was in the store complaining about a new person after asking one of the managers why I quit. I'll honestly never understand why she was so hell-bent on destroying me. I just told her to buy a $20 prepaid phone. So phone lady, let's not meet again. So this happened to my best friend, not me, but it definitely fits here. So, she grew up in a poorer neighborhood, deep in the valley of Fresno, California. If you know anything about Fresno, like all the reasons to never go there, you'll know that it can be an incredibly dangerous city. She lived most of her life in a dangerous cul-de-sac near the canals, and while crime was bad there, in her neighborhood, kids were left more or less alone by those involved. When she was 10, elementary school was 3 blocks away, and she usually walked to and from school. Every school day at recess, there was this guy who would hang out by the fences on the outskirts of the yard and would attempt to make conversation with her whenever she wandered a bit too close. She described him as in his 50s with wiry grey hair and glasses, and always wearing tucked-in dress shirts with khakis. She was a bit of a loner, so she would sometimes talk with him. Apparently this went on for a bit, until he began complimenting her, asking her personal questions, like if she was buying bras yet, and asking her what her plans were after she got out of school for the day. At the time, she finally began to get weirded out by his demeanour, and fortunately made friends with a couple of other girls at the school, and stopped visiting the man by the fence. He didn't let up. He continued standing in the same spot after recess. His attention now focused on solely her. Towards the end of the year, she got out of school and began to walk home. The man was waiting for her outside and tried to engage in conversation again, asking why she was ignoring him, saying that he wanted to walk her home. She politely declined and began hustling home. The creep followed, from a distance at first, but his pace was picking up with every step, closing the gap. She was 1.5 blocks away from home when she realised that she was going to be home alone for an hour until her older brother got out of school. She began to panic as the guy followed closer and closer. As she reached a cross street, she saw a group of 7 bulldogs hanging out on a market corner. Bulldogs are a dangerous game in Fresno, affiliated with the more commonly known as the Bloods. They are pretty easy to spot due to their colours, and everybody knows they are not people to fuck with, as most of them carry weapons. The 10-year-old self weighed the risks and finally broke down in tears and ran over to the men. They were apparently surprised that a crying 10-year-old would run up to them. She explained what was going on and pointed at the man following her, who stopped dead in his tracks and was just watching. told her to get the hell home, and all seven of them took off running at this creepy guy, two of them pulling their guns out. She said to one of the gangbangers, yelled at the guy, "Hey, we want to talk to you for a minute." The creeper immediately took off running, but he was an older guy. And she said as he rounded the next corner, the thugs were about 8 feet from him and gaining. She ran the rest of the way home and never encountered the guy again. She never found out why it happened, but I imagine it was not pretty. He was definitely someone you wouldn't want to meet. The story had a happy ending, and it makes me smile when she tells it, so I thought I'd share.